Let's go back, ladies and gentlemen, right to the beginning.
Live from the Accessible Media Studios in Toronto, this is Kelly & Company. Entertainment, lifestyle, and great conversation. It's AMI Audio's on-air community, and everyone's invited. And now, please welcome the host of the show, Kelly McDonald.
Thank you very much, Bob McGee, as he brings us in to the first Kelly & Company edition. Sitting beside me, of course, my wonderful co-host, Sharon Caddy.
Are you as excited as I am?
Excited. I mean, to the max, as they say.
We've had some great people back and forth on Twitter today.
Want you to be a part of everything that's going on as we do the show and include you every day. And we'll hear from some of the people that, thank goodness, have given us some comments, some advice as to what they'd like to hear on the show so that we can go forward and deliver a wonderful package. Mm-hmm. Coming up today, John Melville with a wrap on this show and Greg David with a discussion and thoughts on how the programming on AMI Audio, the live shows, affected AMI TV. But right now, Sharon Caddy, now, did that take you back? Welcome back to the program. Your original start day with me, October 31st, 2016.
Wow. And you know, I remember that, listening to that back, I remember it as plain as if it was yesterday.
Yeah. It's really funny how things are so familiar when it comes to that show. And you know, you listen to it, you're like, wow. Things really felt really good. Now, we had some other guests on the show. We had Danielle McLaughlin on that original show. She was talking to us yesterday on the program with Ron Malice. He wasn't on that Monday show, which would become his spot. We had some of the staff and students from W. Ross as we talked to them for the first time. And Sharon, Andrew Gurza was part of that show.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm trying to remember the lineup because we did so many shows together. And so many guests, so many contributors. I mean, it's a lot to think back on.
It really is. And our first one, Sharon, as we go back into this closet of time here, well, let's play a little bit from that first discussion. That first guest, Mr. Jerry Howarth. Our first guest on Kelly & Company. I welcome in to say hello today, the voice of the Toronto Blue Jays on radio, Jerry Howarth.
Kelly, thanks for having me. You too, Sharon.
Thanks, Jerry. This is such a thrill. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Well, it's perfect for me, too. Here we are. Tomorrow going to Game 6 of the World Series. Kelly, starting his show with you, and you couldn't ask for a better time to launch a great show.
I'm hoping we hit a home run with this one.
Well, I'm kind of hoping you do and the Cubs do, too, to make it a 7-game series.
But also for you, sir. Milestone, 35 years on air. And I remember meeting you in probably year 2 when I was just a little guy. And Jerry's been there as a supporter for me for a very long time as a mentor.
Well, it's been a real gratifying year, and I've just been so kind of touched and overwhelmed by the response. And one of the nice things, Kelly, about 35 years, you meet so many great people over the course of your career. You're one of them, and I see you on the field, and I look at you and I look at that hat, and I think that's a signature hat. I might have a few signature calls, but you have a signature hat. But I've always admired you and how you go about your life, what you do with it, and you're a part of the Blue Jays baseball scene, too, and when people see you, they say, hey, there's Kelly McDonald, and I really appreciate that.
Wow. It was really nice, Sharon, as a mentor, and we know how important mentors are to have Jerry on the show. He talked a little sports, but you too. You're a big CFL football fan. I remember that from our starting of the show and still are today. What have you been doing? What's been going on?
Oh my gosh, what? Since the start of Kelly & Company, a lot. Still a big CFL fan. Going to be at the Tiger Cats game tonight in Hamilton. Actually, in the past 4 or 5 years, as people may or may not know, I'm a former CFL cheerleader. I used to be a cheerleader for the Hamilton Tiger Cats back in the day. And in 2018, I think it was, we founded the first ever CFL Cheerleaders Alumni Organization. So I've been working with that group over these number of years as a volunteer and really enjoying that. Took a turn in my career, decided to go into real estate. Been doing that now for about 7 years. And I got to tell you, that's been really interesting and fun, and I get to meet great people. And did you know that my time on AMI has actually contributed to my real estate career? Being that familiar voice that some people have heard, and knowing that I grew to really feel in line and understand people with different abilities. And so I've benefited from people that have reached out and become clients of mine because of my time on AMI.
You know, it's interesting you say that. The next clip I want to play, I felt partly kind of launched you into it. And I'll ask you about this because you took this job, you knew the community of people you were going to be talking to, and one of our first in-studio guest was John Rafferty, at the time President, CEO of CNIB. Have a listen, folks. John Rafferty, President, CEO of CNIB. John, thank you for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a great honor to be the first in studio.
Oh, we're thrilled to have you here now. I understand you left your offices where Halloween was in full swing.
Halloween was in full swing.
How's it going over there? What are you doing to celebrate?
There were a whole bunch of things kicked off today. We kicked off our United Way campaign as well today, and we did it with a great Halloween theme and Halloween selfies. We had an amazing haunted room. And the team just did a fantastic job. It was rather too tactile for some people, but lots of squeals and yelps.
Those things always creep me out.
So there was low hanging, there was air bursts, and there were hands that came out from behind black curtains. So it was very good. Very good indeed. And for those that are in the Toronto area that are listening, it's very exciting now that we're going to start dedicating more of our community activity towards programs that are about the lived experience. We're opening a new community hub. It's going to be at Yonge and St. Clair, right on a storefront. It's going to be a hub, and we're going to be following this across the country with locations like this that really belong to the community. I know that my team doesn't like it when I say I want everyone in the community to have a key to the office, but in an emotional way, that's what I want. I want the community to own the space and for them to use it as a place that they can run their own programming, they can receive programming that we help put together, that they can get together as a community. And it's something that's not a Monday to Friday 9 to 5. It's open in the evenings, accessible on weekends.
Incredible as you fast forward and know that these houses have happened in several locations around Canada, Sharon. But this kind of thing was what we first talked about. And again, goes back to what you said, the show left you in that understanding and knowledge of the disability community. Talks like this.
Absolutely. And just made me gain such an appreciation for so many different aspects of things that are available, of technology. I got to touch on this because I cannot do this segment without remembering our friend Tom Decker, who, first of all, I think was probably one of the funniest guys I ever talked to, but who really... Honestly, I had no idea that the scope of advancement in technology, and I mean, it's only grown since that time, but really, really teaching me a lot about just how much technology is a great assist to the blind community and to others of different with different disabilities, with different abilities, and even assisting someone like myself. I've taken advantage of some of those technological advances as well.
I think that was the beautiful thing, wasn't it? That it was for everybody. It didn't matter, Sharon. Anyone could grab onto it and say, hey, that's of use to me, as we've talked on this show for so much over the years as to how these things all really suit everybody, and everybody uses it no matter what they want to think, instead of saying, well, those people over there need those automatic doors, as people are walking through those doors who don't have a wheelchair. Sharon, I want to take you back one more thing before we end this segment in this chat, which has been absolutely wonderful to have you start the show, the final show with me. I remember before we started the show, we had to get PR. We had to make a promo. This particular promo went viral. People loved it. And for those who can see, there's a little squirrel that got his way into the video, and he became a star, i.e. really getting this thing out there as AMI splashed this promo everywhere.
My friends, rejoice. It is your favorite on-air personality, Kelly MacDonald, sitting here with my good friend,
Sharon Caddy. Nice to meet you.
I'm here today to tell you about a place where we can all feel free to speak our minds about anything.
Want to maintain a healthier lifestyle?
Let's talk about it.
Having trouble finding work?
Want to talk about it?
Or something in the news got you all fired up?
I got an idea. Let's sit down and talk about it. No longer will our voices go unheard. Do you have an opinion? I've got plenty of them. So let's talk about it.
Kelly?
Sorry, just a little excited.
Kelly and Company, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on AMI Audio. took me forever to stop saying 3 o'clock for the show time, at least 4 years, because I would keep telling people that when I'd organized a guest to come on the show, I had to constantly double check myself. Caddy, nice to catch up with you. I'm glad things are going so well. People buy a house from this lady, you know, and then talk about it, right?
And talk about it. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody at AMI for the opportunity to have been a part of Kelly and Company, a part of the production. I remember Ramya's first days coming in to the program, all the help we've gotten from folks like Matt. Oh my goodness, there's so many people, and people that I had the chance to meet. Brock Richardson still holds a very warm place in my heart. As I mentioned, Tom Decker, Margaret Weldon, Bill. Oh my gosh, who could forget Bill? And just so many other people, and the great guests that we had the chance to talk to. And I gotta say before I go that Kelly McDonald does the best goat impersonation I've ever heard.
And since we went to video, I've stopped doing it because I have to tilt my head back and go, make the chin waggle. I will also say, Sharon, Kevin Filippapille was on the show here last week. Wonderful to think back to how we started. He was on that first inaugural show, and so was Marianne Dion-Jones, who put together our community reporters that were so huge on the show and did so much. So thank you for calling people, calling it out. Thank you for making the time to be a part of the last show. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, my friend, and we'll always be friends. And thank you to everyone who's been a loyal listener.
Sharon Caddy speaking to us. She was the original co-host of Kelly and Company when we went on the air in 2016, and just had a wonderful chat with her. Now, another one of the co-hosts on the show now joins me. This is our third co-host, Nisreen Abdul-Majid. Niz, welcome.
Thank you. Oh my God, that clip made me laugh out loud. The drama, and Sharon, such a sweetheart, truly.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun building the show. Got that first show, and you want to talk about the come down for second show, third show, and so on. It really, there was so much banking on that first show. We had a great time, wonderful people to talk to, and so smooth. And you and I both know smooth isn't necessarily always the same thing we use or the way it goes day to day on the show. So we will miss it, though. We'll miss that part of it.
We will. Moving on to Greg David, another OG. He's our communication specialist at AMI, and he's been talking TV with us for as far as the memory goes back. Greg, it's Friday. It's our last show. Before you were full-time at AMI, you had to get here somehow. So how'd that happen? Remind us.
Yeah, I was thinking back, and my first experiences at AMI was talking about television on Live from Studio 5. And I remember meeting with Andy Frank, the manager of AMI Audio, and he said, "Listen, and it was in the kitchen at the old 1090 office when he said, we've got this morning show. Would you like to come on and talk about TV? We'll try it out for a bit and see how it goes." So I was going into the studio once a week to do, or I guess it was once every couple of weeks to talk about TV. And it seemed to be doing okay, because then the next meeting with Andy was, can we add you to Kelly and Company to come in and talk about TV? It's a little bit looser show, a little bit more laid back. I had already been listening to the show and knew what it was. So yeah, I joined, and kind of the rest is history. I did that for a bit. I've been with the company now with AMI for 7 years. So, pretty much almost from the beginning of Kelly and Company. Now that's full time. Like I said, I was freelance before and coming in and contributing to both of those shows. But yeah, it was just kind of like I knew about Canadian TV specifically, but the television industry kind of overall. And they were looking for a segment filler. So I came in and started talking, and that's how the relationship started with Kelly and the rest of the show.
I know we had a time, Greg, where when you started working for the company, we had to work out your schedule because you had so much to do in that department and had to kind of figure out when could Greg actually settle in with us. I was so happy we were able to make it work.
Yeah, me too. And I think it's actually part of my job responsibility, because in addition to coming on to talk about, TV, it was also an opportunity from the marketing and communications department where I work now to come in and talk about the projects that were going on at AMI. So it's a little bit twofold. It was a little bit, all right, marketing communications, take advantage of that airtime to talk about what's going on with the company.
Really tremendous.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel, Greg? The live shows contributed to AMI TV and that partnership. I mean, TV's the big enchilada. Everybody loves TV because there's so much to take from it with the video, with the description, everything we do. It's. I always said to everybody, TV, it's so convoluted. Take 7 and so on. But it really gets you out there. It gets that recognition when people stop you and talk to you and want to know about what you do. But we've made so many partners, friendships out of this. But some of that stuff, contributors, I have to say, Mary Mamalidi, and others started to be on shows. We also publicize stuff. But what would you say the impact the live shows had, and what maybe that we don't understand their impact was on the TV side at AMI?
Yeah, I mean, the live shows really helped shape the programming on AMI. I mean, specifically speaking, you mentioned Mary Mamalidi, and it was due to her participation on Kelly and Company that she ended up with her own show, Dish with Mary, which you can stream on AMI Plus anytime. But it's building those relationships and seeing, okay, this person is really good on air. This person has a personality and has something to say. How can we possibly translate that into something else at AMI? Because it's about building those relationships and those connections, and you stick with those people when you know that you can, that they're good at their job, but also that you can trust them and put some, faith into them. That's also, Nazreen knows this about social media. There have been so many people that have been contributors on the shows, the live shows, that have then moved on to become partners with us on social media and spreading the word about what's been going on with us. But also, it's really helped shape the programming with evolving, the evolution of the live shows and the discussions that you predominantly had off the top, where it was more about the blind and partially sighted community. Now it was more about the disability community. And that really shaped the programming at AMI because we wanted to expand as well and tell stories by and for members of the disability community. So the live shows in Kelly and Company and Kelly and Ramya specifically really helped do that and really helped shape what we wanted to make, but also what people wanted to see and the stories that they wanted to have told.
Awesome.
You want to share some memories with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many. It's funny because there was a Teams chat yesterday that people were weighing in on with their memorable moments. And the thing that I wrote were the connections and the conversations. Whenever I've been on with you or Kelly or Nazreen or anybody with this show, it's always felt like we're just having a conversation. I mean, I peek behind the curtain. There are notes for segments. I'm looking at my segment 2 notes right now to make sure that I'm talking about those things. But, despite that, it always feels like a natural conversation. And people get that. People know when a conversation is fake and scripted, right?
Yes.
So that's what I love. That's what I've always loved about this show, is that it all seems so natural. And it is hard work to make a conversation seem natural. You need to, behind the scenes, have done your research. You need to be comfortable in what you're doing. And you also need to be ready for those things that happen, like a technical glitch, and be able to just roll with the punches and not have that derail you. So that, for me, overall, as an umbrella, has been the memory for me. But specifically, I think the Kelly and Ramya primetime special that we shot in Toronto was probably one of my favorite moments, not just because my parents showed up, but because there were like 75 or 80 other people that packed a theater in downtown Toronto in the rain, as it turned out, to come and watch the show be made, a live special be made for primetime TV on AMI TV. Because that, you just don't know, right, Kelly? Is anybody listening? Does anybody care?
Yes.
So to have a theater full of people, to have a Grant Hardy fly in from Vancouver, Beth Deer fly in from Edmonton, have Jeff Ryman there, just to have everybody there and cheering and really enjoying the music from Lucas Hanneman and his band. There was just everybody together, and it was a great love. And that's something that I'm always going to remember because it was so much fun.
And it was. Wow. Greg, thank you. As technically our last live guest, if you want to call it that, on this pre-recorded show, again, behind the scenes, that, we do pre-record the show, piece it together sometimes like yesterday's show had to be, and actually the day before. It's been that kind of a week. On behalf of the team, I have to say thank you on my side here.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. It's been so much fun working with you guys, and I know that you're going to be talking about an exciting project coming up. So I know you're not going away, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you on the new project as well.
Us too. Greg David is our communication specialist, and it's a pleasure having had him on this show so often for his expertise and spirit. So thank you again, Greg.
Want to bring on Ramya Muthan, producer for the show, former co-host on the show. Rum, welcome.
Oh, welcome to you as well, to the ultimate show. Yeah.
The final roundup of everyone, and we've got a lot ahead. But we wouldn't be able to do this show, Rum, without the work you do behind the scenes, putting script together, what Matt Agnew does, and stuff like that you guys for the organizing, or this fellow over here, Mark Aflalo. He joins us as well.
Shout out.
Mark has been working with us since October, doing the show since we popped up onto YouTube and stuff like that. Mark, what's the process, man? We do the show, and then you then start uploading things and putting them here and putting them there.
The process starts with making sure that everybody gets on correctly, which like today is a challenge.
We had a fun time with that today.
But really, you guys do all the work and the magic. I just, make sure that it all hums in the background, and then when it's done, it gets to where it needs to be, both in podcast and AMI audio, and of course YouTube. And of course, I can't do it alone. I've got, of course, Jordan, who is on the show every once in a while as well, when I'm not, making things happen as well.
Mark's in LA today, as a matter of fact, getting ready for NHL work, right, with the draft.
Impressive.
So it's nice, it's really cool that we've been able to do this stuff with Mark wherever he is, Nisreen wherever she, it's so amazing that AMI Audio has been able to work this way, and that Ramya has something that has really changed since the beginning of the show and the time that you came after school to be here. Everything was studio based. Now, wow, we can do things from everywhere outside of remotes.
We've done so many different iterations of the show, from Kelly and Company to Kelly and Ramya back to Kelly and Company, but also, like you said, in studio. There was a couple weeks, I think, where you and I were together in studio, Monday to Friday, every single day. Yep. And then you left to London, and it was just me and Matt behind the glass. So and then Jeffy came in, and then there was a whole bunch of years where it was you in London, me in Toronto, and then pandemic days where everyone was remote. So the team has kind of stuck together, most of us at least. And then there were 4, then there was 3, and then there was 2. But
Jeez, that sounds like a scary play.
And then some additions to the family. But look at this, like 9 years later. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And I just love how we've adapted to all those bumps in the road that happen. I mean, there were
this show is resilient.
Yeah.
So resilient.
It has been. Yeah. I think one of the keys was when we decided years ago to stick with what we were doing and just stick with it. And at that time, Live from Studio 5 was going to television. So we had a period of time where we could just kind of stick with what we thought was the way to do things and be consistent, so people got used to that. And Mark, I think for yourself, with what your routines are and the things you got to do, sticking with it is kind of the best. We started to adapt to that when we started up again this past October.
Yeah, I mean, it's routines are what make things habitual and make things work best, and it's the only way to do it, guys.
Well, thank you, Mark.
The show ends doesn't mean you're not going to find a new one.
No.
Do you believe we're routine kind of people on the Kelly Co team, Mark?
No comment.
Creatures of habit?
No comment.
I thought not. Mark, thanks a lot.
We show up every day.
Every day at some time. Yeah.
At some point.
Mark, really appreciate what you've done for the show, and thank you. And as Nisreen was counting, we were saying, is it one person, 6 person? Then there will be none, and that'll be shortly. But we have to take this time to say thank you so much for everything you've done to make this show look the way it's looked.
Oh, it's been an honor, guys.
Appreciate it. So with all that said, guys, Nisreen, what's up next?
Paula Dineen is the manager of production at AMI, and she's been here loyally and supportively through the Kelly and Co. ride. She's been always in the background. She's generously joining us for a teaser of what's to come. First of all, Paula, welcome to our last show.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's such a bittersweet day. A lot of feelings here about the end of the show.
Indeed, yes. So we've gone through quite the roller coaster together on Kelly and Co. Paula, what's a fond memory you share of Kelly and Co?
Be nice.
I can't. I promise I will be nice, Kelly.
Don't think too hard.
No, some of my favorite memories were when we were all at our old John Mills studio and everyone was in person and hanging out around that table in Studio 5 and having Matt on the other side of the glass getting in our ears. And it was just such a fun and welcoming environment. Mm-hmm. You guys just made it so easy for all of us non-on-air people to come on and to speak and to be part of the team. So I miss those times when we were all in the office, but there are definitely some exciting things coming up for us.
I remember when people would get such anxiety if I said, "Hey, are you available Thursday? Will you come on the round table?" Why? Well, just because I'd like to get you on to talk about what? Oh, I don't usually tell people what we're talking about.
That was me.
No, really? That was you? Paula,
that was
Elena,
me.
the list goes on.
Yeah, usually there was a secondary email where people would ask me, and then I'm like, sorry, I have no idea either. Like 3-4 years.
So great. So Paula,
get used to the roundtable.
People, of course, online have been curious. People around the circles want to know what's next for the team and programming at AMI Audio at this time, as we've talked about a lot about live programming, about what's going on with our show and celebrated the history, but now it's time to start looking forward.
Yeah, you're right, Kelly. And we do have a couple of really exciting things going on in the background. We can't tell you about all of them yet today. You'll have to stay tuned for more information on that. But we can say that that all of these people who are in this conversation right now, either on this screen or if you're listening to audio or podcast, they're all going to be part of a new show that we're working on, which is going to be launching in September. So we're going to be taking these next 2 months to build this new show team and to build this new show. And I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a change from Kelly and Company. But as I said, a lot of the same faces and voices are going to be part of it. And I think the audience is really going to like what we have up our sleeves.
Talk about a teaser.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That is really. What the heck we bring you on here for? You can't even come up with a name? Good heavens.
We will be
Paula,
sharing that information shortly. But the best place that people can go to if they want to stay on the pulse of what we're doing at AMI is to join our newsletter. And we'll be announcing the show name and what we're planning for September very soon.
You know, it's interesting, Paula, because we've talked about so much in the live show era, but before that, there was a great era where people were creating cool content, documentaries, and really throwing themselves into some cool stuff. So in my head, that's kind of like what we're looking forward to. Is AMI Audio does a lot of dabbling in that kind of content and stuff that people enjoyed, as so many of us are fans of CBC, what they do. But quite frankly, before we started doing this show, when I was over on the AMI TV side, I was a fan of what these guys were doing over here with so much of that great content. So looking and hoping for that kind of thing going forward too.
Yeah, and I think you're putting a really nice teaser out there, Kelly. We are going to be trying some different formats rather than this live format that we've been doing the last few years. We are going to be a little bit more documentary style, a little bit more scripted, but we're still going to be delving into some of the same topics that we've been touching on over the years, and we're still maintaining our focus of platforming people and voices from the disability community to share their perspectives and share their stories.
Well, Paula, before we let you go, we want to hear your final words for our audience, which should probably be on behalf of you and Andy Frank, the manager of AMI, since he escaped this one with vacation days, might I add.
Yeah,
the audacity.
I think he coordinated it. For sure.
Yeah. Andy's slippery there, but coming from both me and Andy, we are just so pleased with what you guys have been able to accomplish over the last 9 years of Kelly and Company in the different iterations from AMI Audio to AMI TV to our podcast and our YouTube channel. And we're just really thankful for all of the contributors and guests that have been part of this company and part of this journey. And a thank you to all of our listeners who have tuned in, who have given feedback, who have given us ideas or sent in a voicemail. We really appreciate each and every one of you, and we really hope that you'll stick with us and come join us on the new show in September.
Thank you.
Yeah, they can't get away that easily.
No.
They'll be back in September.
Thank you so much, Paula.
Thank you, guys. I hope you're enjoying your last show, and I look forward to hearing what comes next.
Paula Dineen is the manager of production at AMI, and she's been so valuable, wonderful support for Kelly and Company. Thank you again.
It's a bittersweet thing, ladies and gentlemen, as you can imagine. So many of you out there have been with us for so long, and those who may have recently found us, we appreciate it. For us, we love doing the show. It's a lot of work to do it right, and we think we found our formulas, and then something throws us off. So it really is something you love. We're going to miss immensely. The world is always full of change, and we know the broadcast industry is like that, as we've talked about here on the show before. Now, I'd like to hand things over to Ramya, who has something to take care of for us here, something pretty important.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like we started with how many people, and then there was 5, and then there was 4. And at some point we got this. Show. Yeah, exactly. But let's not get carried away down the crime route, because we were so blessed to have some of these additions to the family. Nisreen Abdelmajid, the Jill of all trades. She is known out there as DJ extraordinaire, DJ Nazi, but here at AMI, she is our fashionista. She's our Calico social media sensation and our co-host for the last few months. Girl, we have been blessed and honored to have you join the family. And you've been a breath of fresh air for this show. You take on everything with stride. You've been tech for us in the past before you were co-host. You joined us on The Buzz, right? She filled in for The Buzz with Bill. She came on very kindly for all those roundtables, even though she had no idea what she was signing up for. And she's been a friend of the show forever. So what's your favorite memory, Niz, for Kelly Co?
Oh my God. It's so hard to answer this question. And I know I'm not trying to be vague at all, but our live show era, that was my favorite part of Kelly and Company. But I'd have to say there's just so many memories, so many great people, so many great guests. But the live show era just gave me the adrenaline that I needed to start off as an intern. First of all, can you imagine the stress?
Like a true audio tech.
Yeah.
Let me
throwing
tell
her right
you,
into the deep end.
Yeah.
Matt just threw me in, no life jacket, nothing. Okay. But I started off with Kelly and Company. I can't even put into words the feeling I felt after all the, that success that I went through during that time. But I started off as an intern, and it was the live show era. And I can't tell you that my favorite memory was actually succeeding in teching by myself. It was after that show. I know it's a small thing, but after that show I successfully teched the whole show by myself, I got home and I was just the happiest. I was like, I did that. I did that.
I love this answer. This is great.
Yeah, so true. And that was back when we were 8 segments, 2 hours live, not live to tape, live to air. And
dude, like every segment would have to get somebody on the phone, somebody on Skype, somebody here.
Yes.
And it was just constant. You're not chilling at all. Like I'm not grabbing a cup of coffee every segment. Okay. This is, it was.
No, she lined up the 8 of them before.
That's right.
It was the stress that I needed
of espresso. No, but it's true. It's true. There was a time before you, I think, Niz, where there would be a second person in the tech booth. So like when Matt was teching, Kevin would be in there, Kevin Philippa Pillay, or I would be in there, or Andrika would be in there, and we would handle the phones as somebody else handled the what do you call it? The thing, the machine. the board. Oh
Yeah.
my God, sorry guys.
Epic.
I'm
Epic
anti-tech,
thing, right? Yeah.
the board. But by the time Nazi was doing it, it was just you. It was just the tech in there. So you had to do everything. You had to make the phone calls while listening to the host, while making sure nobody's dropped off, while following time and giving time cues. It is a one-person job.
It was so funny because in order to give you guys time cues, I'd have to hold two buttons at the same time, and I would be so nervous. So Matt would be like, "Okay, give them a 3-minute time cue," and I'll be like, 3, 2, and they would, after the show, they'll be like, "We didn't hear any of that," because I would just press like for 1 second and let go because I didn't want to interrupt your conversation.
Yes, that's a skill in itself. What are you going to miss the most?
Our pre-show banter, of course. Our pre-show banter, those memories, those meetings that we used to have every day after the show, just talk about what the next show is all about. But I know it's so fun just to have that banter. It's so natural, as Greg said. It just felt, like another show, but unplanned. We had great conversations, honestly. That's what I'm going to miss the most.
Beautiful. So give us your final word to the audience, Nazi. You're not really signing off because you'll be back, but to the Kellyco audience.
Yeah. Oh, I thought about this. Being part of the Kelly & Co. family has been truly an honor, and I even feel like that's an understatement. The fact that I started off at AMI working with the Kelly & Co. team as an intern, and I had the chance for the last few months of Kelly & Co. to end it off with Kelly & Co. is just unreal. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like right when Andy asked me, I was like, yes, yes, yes. Like, I need to. And at the time, I didn't know that the show was ending. So just to start off with K & Co., to end it off with K & Co. was the best in the world. That's what I would have done. But I truly am thankful for the audience, the listeners that have been so supportive of us, our team, that our contributors. Every single person had contributed in this team, and it felt like a family. When I first started, it felt so natural. It truly felt like a family to me. And I'm just so appreciative that I felt so comfortable and accepted as a person with a disability, as a person who is Muslim, as a person who is a female. Like, it's hard to be at a workplace and feel comfortable and accepted and appreciated. And that's exactly how I felt being part of the team. So I just want to thank all the listeners for just always supporting us and giving us love.
Thanks, Nazi. Thanks. We've all stepped it up so much through this shows, and we really, really appreciate you being here for every single part of it that you've been over the years. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Nisreen Abdelmajid, she's not going anywhere, but she's going a lot of places, if you know what I mean.
Really wonderful. Thanks, Niz. Folks, let's hear from another day one supporter of the show. One of the people that actually made this thing happen, John Melville. I have the privilege of sitting with John Melville. He's, of course, our Vice President of Production at AMI, and all things that we do involving the TV and audio side. John, we've come full circle from a conversation over lunch that you and I had back in 2016 to this point in 2025 as a large part of the live show era on AMI audio. I have to say to upper management, first of all, congratulations, because something that we were unsure of how it would work out, how it would turn out to be, what the pitfalls would be, and what the upside would be. But we're here on a day where we're wrapping up Kelly & Company and wanting to just look up and kind of look back and say, wow, 8.5 years for us, and live show era doing so well at AMI Audio in its time. But really needed to know from you, what kind of facilitated it? What brought it on? And when you look back at it and upper management, what would be your report card on it?
Well, I'll answer that part first. I think as the 8 years or so has determined, it's been quite a success. And a long journey, and through several different iterations, as you and our viewers and listeners know. It's taken on a few shapes and forms and names over the years. But Kelly, you've been a part of it since, that lunch conversation. I have to think back to that. My own personal recollection was the first show of Kelly and Company when it was Halloween and you were dressed as Friar Tuck and we had all the lights on. And we did it in the dark, which is really how radio should be done, isn't it?
Yes.
But the success, I think, of the time we've had to do it has been an opportunity for AMI to really kind of have a current daily broadcast so that we can address, you guys can address all the things that are going on over a variety of different genres and topics of interest to the audience. But things, as you know, and the way people watch television and consume content have been changing quite a bit. And now it's a bit difficult to expect people to be making an appointment to watch something. So what we need to do now is make things available when people are ready to consume it. So, that I think is one of the reasons why we're kind of making the further changes at this point in time, so that we can really give the good folks at AMI Audio a chance to really sort of dig into some of the stuff that really works well, and tell those stories with the amount of energy and research, if you will, that is needed for it. Sometimes the daily grind, as you can probably attest, Kelly, of doing the live show, we may miss some things that if we spend a little bit more time on them, we would probably get right, and thus taking advantage of the new medium now. I think that's where we want to go. But it's been a great ride. We're just thrilled with the team that's developed and everything that's going on, and we'll continue with you guys.
What a way to grow skills, doing things in live time and experiencing something that for John, as you know, for me, is a childhood dream. Not necessarily to be a talk show host, but to be on radio. Many of us had such a passion for radio and could have the opportunity with this show, incorporate it, bring it forward. And I think that was a plus side so much for what we were able to do and the conversations we were able to have, and the people who came along with us, the company, the contributors, the listeners out there, the guests that would pop on the show and say, what the heck is this? What do you people do? Wow. And we got to meet. So it was a pleasure. It was an honor to be able to serve the audience and appear in people's homes every day, John. And we have you guys to thank for taking a chance on us when you launched the first show. I know there was that, John, what do you mean? You want to do another one already? Don't we need some data to say, hey, this is the right thing to do? And I think over the years, John, when we've had such great listenership at times, when we were able to move to TV and help us through a real rough time with the pandemic, and of course those who continue to engage us on YouTube and on the podcast even to this very day, and we owe them a huge thanks. But also, sir, the team would like to thank you guys for the opportunity. Your final words.
It's been a thrill. What can I say? Just as you said, we've met some really interesting people, both the contributors and the team of people that's developed with us. And if I can speak for my team, our senior management team, just to thank you guys for the commitment and the friendly faces and voices that appeared every day on the show. I'm not going to say you'll be missed, because you're not going anywhere. You're going to be back in another incarnation, but just not in a live show context. But people can still reach out to you, and we hope to be able to continue that sort of dialogue that we have with our viewers and listeners as we create great content for them at AMI.
John Melville joining us as we salute AMI and everybody involved in the live show era. Thanks, John. I appreciate you making the time, coming with those fine words. And as one chapter closes, as you mentioned, another one opens. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Kelly.
And you know what, folks? You can also find me on Twitter at AMI Kelly Mac. I'm not sure about these guys. Ramya Muthan's still here with me. And I welcome in our senior producer for the show, Matt Agnew, and this guy, Jeff Ryman, senior producer of Parasport Nation. And of course, these are what we would consider our core. And lots of people you've met, we've talked to, who have been a part of the show at the beginning through different times. This is the Kelly and Company core as Matt, Kevin, and I jumped into things. Ramya joining us. Jeffrey, you joined us a little later. And what was it like when you got the news? Because you were kind of a jack of all trades, running all over, working on different things, but you joined our show. And boy, I hope when they said we need you on the Kelly and Co. show, it was good news at the time, and welcome back, man.
It's good to be back, guys. It was an incredible feeling when they said I was moving over to the afternoon show and joining the Kelly and Company team, because I felt like that was more of a natural fit for me. I think the old saying that we floated around the office back in the day was the morning show live from Studio 5 was sort of that newspaper sort of show, like the newsy show, and the afternoon show, Kelly and Company, was more of that lifestyle magazine. And I felt like that was more for me because you could sort of inject a little bit of fun and personality into it a little bit more. Not saying that there wasn't that on the morning show, because there was, but I felt like I could bring some fun stories to the program and inject a little bit of my own little personality into the show as well. So initial thoughts was, this is going to be awesome.
Awesome. Well, I want to play something here that Matt found. This is, I've been calling it a kind of sizzle roll as AMI shows off the content when approaching the CRTC or other means and just kind of summing up what we're doing. This one focuses on the live show era.
We're inside the Mattamy Athletic Center, formerly known as Maple Leaf Gardens, for the 2018 Canadian National Blind Hockey Tournament, where over 80 players from across North America will skate.
I can see the puck coming to me, so I try and be conscious of where I am to give myself enough time to turn around. Things like that are a consideration, not going in too deep into the zone.
Let's the games begin.
Here comes Team Yellow's Jamie Foda. Vince Ryan keeps it in, tries to step around the defender, cutting his way to the net, but good back check there, and they take Ryan down.
At the competitive level, you could walk into the arena and you wouldn't have even noticed that there was something different about the sport.
AMI Audio Live from PEB Celebrates. Are absolutely privileged to be sitting here today at the Roundhouse Recreation Center here in downtown Vancouver.
Everything is sounding so cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see everything from live music today to a cooking demo at 2:15 to recreation demos happening at 3 o'clock. So we have really everything happening today.
So tell us about Spinal Cord Injury BC.
Obviously, having a spinal cord injury is a hindrance, but I can do everything I did before with exceptions. Our mission statement is to help people adapt, adjust, and thrive to their injury, whether they're newly injured or they have an existing injury.
Music was an important part of my life prior to disability. At 27, I was hurt. And after, it was always there as a soother. I did what's called brief therapy, and that's do more of what you love, and you know, just do more what you love. And that's what worked for me.
I want you just like I remember you.
AMI Audio Live from the Forks at APTN's Aboriginal Day. The beautiful vocals we are listening to, we didn't even want to start talking, belong to Sonia Ives, One Kiss, and wow, that's a nice treat.
People want to hear, especially Indigenous people, their music and what they have to share. Yeah.
I'm wearing the traditional jingle dress. It is covered with metal cones. There's 365 cones on my dress, one to represent each day of the year. It's covered in metal conches and turquoise. The painting on the outside of it is actually representative of my home territory. This is my flag from Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Luckily, my dress is supposed to sound like rain.
Can you give us a little, because see, she's being so
wonderful.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I just absolutely love that.
There were blind veterans coming home from the war, and there were people blinded in the Halifax explosion. And by 1917, the Canadian Free Library for the Blind was beginning to do more than just circulate books. It recognized that some of the broader needs of blind people.
CNIB turning 100 years old. Welcome to AMI Audio Live. We're coming to you all day from all over the country.
I've participated in the summer camps ever since I was old enough. They even taught me a life skill, which was
was fearlessness. You could do anything you put your mind to, really. You need to be brave when it comes to advocating.
Do you want to give a shout out to the CNIB?
Shout out to the CNIB for turning 100 years old.
If you start trying to figure out what needs to happen in society and how inclusive things need to be out of the box, if you wrote the criteria that would exist so CNIB didn't have to exist, that would be an amazing Canada.
Would it ever? Wow. So many great memories, guys, all a part of that stuff. Good grief, Rumya, on the road. Always such a fun thing to do.
Oh my, so fun. Throwing back to Peb Celebrates, and even before that at the Forks with you and Sharon, it is just nostalgic. I feel that at the pit of my stomach. My goodness. Music, sports, like what have we not done in person? It's wild.
Yeah. I love that 100 CNIB thing. One of the things that we found, guys, that we had to really throw ourselves into working on, and Matt Agnew, we have you to thank for this because you're always asking those darn foolish questions that go on, and we force us to go find some kind of damn answer out for it. But Matt came up with these questions that led us to what we call back to basics. Take a listen, and we'll sum it up for you.
When it comes to navigating life with a disability, there's a lot to learn. O&M, ILS, iOS.
But having the right tools really changes the way we feel about ourselves. From technology to entertainment, lifestyle, and more, our contributors get you back in the driver's seat.
OCR. Gosh, we really love acronyms.
Sounds that way, doesn't it? Catch Back to Basics Week on Kelly and Company, April 4th to 8th, right here on AMI Audio. Brian Perdue, who was a huge fan of the program, and he was manager over at AMI TV, started to notice when we did Back to Basics Week, a lot of you out there found the show, and we appreciate you so much for doing so. But Matt, we appreciate you for the guy who said, let's do this. And, you know, of course, when you're in the disability world, you're saying, is it really necessary? We learned very quickly it was, Matt. How come?
Yeah, well, back when I started, and I was just like an audio engineer who swore that he'd never get out in front of the microphone. I just did a lot of listening. I was behind the scenes. I was the man behind the curtain. And I just would like notice all these kind of things. And I was kind of bringing the perspective of a listener and saying like, there's a lot of acronyms that we take for granted. There's a lot of knowledge that we take for granted, and even a lot of attitudes that get built up over a long time. But not everyone has a congenital condition, and there's lots of people that are joining the disability community every day without that sort of knowledge that's so run of the mill for those of us in the bubble, I guess. And so I just kind of started thinking like, what if there's somebody new tuning in who doesn't know about what the CNIB can do for them, or doesn't know about, the get together with technology group that they could be taking advantage of and things like that. But also like just bringing it all the way back to basics and talking to like our contributors who had been on the show for years at that point about their experiences and what things were like for them. And I think the whole thing was just really driven by empathy and wanting to connect with new people and just like encourage them and support them, because it's a major thing to find out, to acquire in life, or to find out later in life that you have a disability, and for the people that have been doing it for so long, they just have the message and the story and the compassion for people who are going through it. So yeah, to kind of get to do it together a little bit and get their perspective on it, I hope did a lot for some people out there.
And we had a promo that we built out of it, Matt. You built it because we had Back to Basics and we had so much great comments from people. Have a listen, folks.
A young lady I spoke to about what fashion means to her, and she is a fashion student, and also she has sight loss, and she said when she's picking out something that gives her strength and power, she gravitates to a leather jacket because she loves the way it feels. Leather has strength, and that gives her a sense of power. That's her armor, as she called it. Fashion is just the story of your life. It has nothing to do with sight.
Kelly and Company, sharing your stories.
Ramya, so many of those things we'd play on the show, and you think about all the different people we had as guests, contributors, but some of the things that would just come out of random conversations that really made you stop and think. And whether you and I are fully involved in the disability world as low vision or blind people, some of these words were things that, hey, I never thought of that, and really were the things that we showed up to class and learned so much from.
Well, we were always so present, and I think everybody on the team can feel the same way. Jeffy, you said it too. Like, you feel like everything that happened here, it's not just a memory, it feels real, right? And there's so many things we did. Like, we had very tiring days, very long shows, very like different aspects that felt like we weren't sure what it was going to be, or like, this is maybe too much. But everyone just put in their all, everyone showed up. And I think that these conversations, the ones that felt very vulnerable on the show or behind the scenes during team meetings when we were brainstorming with different ideas in mind, or just like, hey, do you think we should try this? Do you think we shouldn't? I think everyone just felt like, I don't know, it was worth the conversations, right?
Yeah,
it felt real.
Yeah. And I think that's the way to go by. And we were blessed having so much time to do so. I mean, time, but there was always control over our time, Jeff Ryman. Somebody in the show, in this group of four, took charge of time all the time. And there was an ego thing that was associated with this as, well, Kelly's got the show name, so maybe Kelly's got the biggest ego. Let's put this to rest, Mr. Ryman. Who in this group has the biggest ego associated with this show at that time?
Are you kidding me?
What a question.
Pardon me as
honestly,
my eyebrows are hitting the ceiling here. I think Kelly's
Yeah,
angling
folks,
towards
tap,
something,
tap.
but I couldn't imagine what. I couldn't imagine what you're supposed
Jeff,
to say here, Jeff.
What do you think,
are
Jeff?
you after here, Kels? I don't
Jeff,
honestly. I don't think
ego.
any of us really have an ego. We don't. None
Are
of
you
us have
serious?
big egos.
He's always
I'm
been the
gonna
most
say
chill
you,
on the
Kelly.
team.
Come on.
Peacekeeper.
That's why I went to him first, because he's going to give that. No, I don't think anyone does. Amuthan,
Pretend like you
who do you
don't know.
think does? Who has the most
I
control?
used to think it was hands
Let me put
down
it that
you,
way.
but I think it might be Matt. There's
too.
been several instances, few and far between, but they were definitely telling. I think it's Matt.
I think so. It's because he could
tech.
shut us up
It's
at any time.
Exactly. It's the button pressing. Gets to his head.
And what we're doing now, what we'd get in our ear is we were doing what we're doing now, talking over each other. We'd hear too many voices in our ear. And we'd know, and we'd try to calm down. We'd know that
Master
because
Matt
we'd bring
Agnew.
Ryman on. Yeah, we'd bring Ryman on, and it would get like that. You know, when we were trying to get Jeff to tell us the color of things, but being colorblind, he couldn't do. Well, let down.
There were multiple times where it was probably beneficial to turn off somebody's mic, but but in terms of radio, I mean, as much as you don't want people talking over each other, it's better than nobody talking. So I'll take that.
That's right.
That's true.
Yeah. But
Dead air does cause a lot more panic than unintelligible dialogue.
Yeah. Just ask Danielle McLaughlin. I think that was the big thing for all of us. We knew radio people, they're silence, talk. Guys, I want to kind of stop laughing for a moment because we did get a wonderful message. Kind of summing up, I think, what we've tried to do and what work we've tried to accentuate over the years when it comes to the show. We have a listener in Finland who checked out the show and found it fairly recent. It's explained in this. Emmy Conster sent us a message as we say so long to everybody. Here's what Emmy had to say.
Hello, my name is Emmy. Greetings from Finland. So I live in Finland. I am Finnish. I was born here, and I've been blind since birth, and I've been listening to Kelly and Company since last December every day, and you have been a big part of my evening routine, because when the podcast comes out, it's evening here, so I've been enjoying Kelly and Company very much. I get a lot of interesting information about everything from it, and I'm, the ending of Kelly and Company will leave a huge black hole, to my evening, and I'm going to miss the show very much. So that's what I wanted to say, and I really hope all the best to each and every one of you. So that's everything that I wanted to say, and bye for now.
Emmy, thank you for sending the message. Thank you for sharing with us your feelings and for discovering us and giving to us your valuable time. And I think that's the way most of us feel about the past 8.5 years. We've tried to bring content out that we think is valuable to somebody. We never expected people to listen to every day for 2 hours when we were a 2-hour show. We expected them to take what they wanted. And when you say things like the time that we fill in your evenings, it's special because you can't get that time back. And we appreciate so much that. Now, I'm going to ask the team, since we really think we know what we've tried to do, I'm kind of curious how they feel as we close off this show, this final edition of Kelly and Company, and put a final bow on what we consider success. But I want to hear from each of you. Matt, I'll start with you.
Well, I'll start with this. I've got good news for Emmy. I did a little math as I've been going back through our archives in the last few weeks, and it turns out, if you go back and binge our entire back catalog, there might be a few like outdated tech guides maybe, but like still good conversation. And if you did nothing else but get a good night's sleep, it would take you about 200 days straight to listen to everything that these guys have had to say. So, there's definitely there's more where that came from if you joined us part way through, and that's still going to be out there, so you can still enjoy that, and as John said, that these guys aren't totally going away. There's going to be a new iteration, different formats and stuff like that. But listen, I mean, in terms of my thoughts and feelings, of the show overall. As I mentioned earlier, I started as a sound engineer who was just there to record and tech and edit things and that sort of thing. But I was just there to listen. Like when you're editing interviews, you really take it all in. We've listened to thousands of hours of interviews of voices from the disability community, and you can't not do that and not be affected by it. And so this show, I think, is really changed me a lot since the beginning, and it's given me a lot of opportunity to learn how to tell people's stories, and to kind of just be that platform for people to speak out and engage. And I want to thank everyone who's been on the show. I also did the math on this, by the way. Kelly, if I made you say do credits and say thanks to absolutely everyone who's been on the show, I think it'd turn into about like a 20-hour telethon situation. But
impressive.
But with me reading it 30 hours, stumbling my way through.
Yeah, that's right. You're gonna have to crank that up to 2 or 3x speed.
Oh yeah.
But no, I mean, like, and the thing I think that stands out to me most, guys, is just that this theme comes up over and over and over again throughout our show, and it's being visible and being vulnerable leads to meaningful connection. And I think that's what this show has been. I can't believe it. And I want to say thank you to all of the guests, all of the contributors, and Kelly and Ramya and Nazreen and Sharon, the hosts of the show. Talk about being visible and vulnerable. Like, you guys have shared so much of your lives on this show. And that's a generous thing. That's a very generous thing. And so, yeah, it's been a real learning experience, and it's been a real growth experience for me overall. I do want to throw a special thanks out to Mark and our prior production control room staff, and just everyone who has been behind the scenes, because Mark was downplaying it just like a little bit. Like starting as an audio engineer, I know that pulling together all of the parts and pieces of a show and getting it where it needs to go is an incredibly demanding task. But without it, I mean, we're just shouting into the void. So it's an incredibly important role. And so I want to say thanks to everyone who's been behind the scenes of the show over the course of nearly a decade. And also an extra special kudos to our interns. For those of you that don't know, most summers we would get an intern to support us in our production. But unlike a lot of places, everyone here wears multiple hats, and so when our interns were coming in, you know, Nazreen referenced maybe being dumped in the deep end a little bit. But if I didn't dump her in the deep end, I wasn't going to get my vacation that summer. So, you know, I mean, it was,
so there was a reason
maybe
to
a little
cover
bit of my
off.
own agenda. But no, listen, like a lot of these students were coming in thinking that, you know, they'd be fetching coffee or whatever. And I think some of their classmates were, you know, in different places.
Yes.
But we needed the interns so badly that as soon as they showed up, we're like, oh my God, thank God you're here. Let me show you how to, and they would be driving the big rig, like Nazreen said, like all by themselves, within, you know, a couple of weeks to a couple of months. And that's, you know, that's great experience, I think, for them. But yeah, it's just to be able to take that on and pull it off. Like we were asking a lot of our interns, and so Nazreen was an intern.
Definitely.
Our dear Ramya over here was one of my interns as well, who I really ground her gears, I think, for the first summer or two, and a number of others, you know, who all just did such great work to keep the show going, even though we're trying to do a lot with a little. So yeah, so I wanted to just say thanks to everybody for your part in this. That, you know, there's thousands of people that have done something for the show, and that's
in one way or
incredible.
another. Listeners, right on. Rum, your thoughts, feelings.
Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody as well. And the way that I feel familiar with my family, getting to know me, getting to know who I am with my disability, and not having to constantly explain everything all the time, that's how I feel with you guys. This place has been an absolute family for me. And when I say this place, I mean Kelly and Company. And everyone who's worked on this show, all the contributors, it just feels like friends and family. And we say that so much, but it cannot be more true. We've been to so many places together, guys, the four of us, and I've always felt like I could lean on you, rely on you, trust you to just be around and do things right and ask questions and be vulnerable. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I obviously have grown so much in the last 9 years, and it was my 20s too, so you guys had a rough time with me, but thank you. I really appreciate you, especially Kelly, for keeping me around.
Well, appreciate it. All the work you've done and all the things that, you know, we've talked about and laughed now that you say, I don't need air conditioning. Come on, I can get through. I got to buy another air conditioner for this place.
Non-coffee to coffee days.
Exactly. Oh, I don't drink that stuff. Oh, I'm going to go get the real rich, expensive one. Jeffrey, your feelings, your thoughts as such an integral person in this program.
Yeah, you know what? Looking back at it, almost a decade is pretty impressive, especially for a radio audio show and I guess technically a TV show in this format of broadcasting. That's pretty darn impressive. So we should give ourselves a little pat on the back, guys. That's really impressive. But one of the things that really sticks out to me is just how our show has evolved. And Matt sort of touched on it. The topics that we would dive into, we sort of prided ourselves on that, where we could have fun on the Buzz with Bill or What in the World, but then we'd get to a little bit more of a serious note, and everything in between. And just the camaraderie that we have between the four of us, I think the chemistry really worked. I mean, everybody understands that on air, Kelly and Ramya, both of you guys sound fantastic together. That's probably why the show has been on for so long, is that it's just so fun listening to you guys. I mean, Ram, your laugh is contagious. Same with you, Kels. Like, just hearing you guys laugh, hearing you guys talk, is truly a joy. And then I think just as well, just as importantly, is behind the scenes, where Matt and I would even each other out, I think, where, you know, I think, Matt, you were obviously more on the technical side, but I also think that you were the brainchild behind a lot of the ideas. You mentioned back to basics. We had a try it week, you know, stuff like that. Like, you were sort of the brainchild behind that. And I was sort of the person that maybe held everything together. In a sense, it was just a really good core four. You know, the chemistry was there both on and off the air. So just want to say thank you to the three of you, because it was really a special ride. But yeah, I really pride myself on the work that we've been able to do, the guests that we've been able to have, the contributors. We always mention them, but they don't get mentioned enough. Those contributors kept us afloat, and provided some really good, entertaining, educational, fun, informative programming. So like I said, almost a decade is pretty darn impressive in today's landscape of broadcasting. So I'm trying to remember this on a high note, guys. You know, it's not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now. So just trying to ride this on a high. I don't want to be too sappy or too sad on this, because I know there's some bigger and better things coming. So appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, Jeff. Matt, Ramya, it's been an incredible ride. We've had the privilege of being able to come into your homes, and everybody has said it. The thank yous are tremendous, and just so many to give. So much appreciation. For me, it's been being able to grow, to get better at the craft, to watch everyone else doing that, to see where everybody involved with the program, whether you're a listener to the show that's reached out to us, a contributor to the show, just somebody, an organization that has worked with us in some capacity, where everybody's gone has been absolutely tremendous and an absolute honor. I appreciate everybody's time, whether it's listening in or interacting on social media with us. It has been an absolute joy to live out my lifetime dream, and AMI has been very good to me personally over the last 15 years, and I couldn't wish for more. I mean, yes, you can always say, I wish things would continue, and obviously there are people out there who really have supported this show from the beginning or that we're new to, and we thank all of you. I thank everyone for riding along with me, this show, and everything that we've been able to do, and you have been able to do. I ask that you go forward, and wherever we are, please say hi. Keep us in your lives. Keep your life in our lives. We're obediently yours, ladies and gentlemen. And for the last time, I have to say to you that big thanks. And get out of here, will you now? Fedora's off to you.
Thanks for tuning in to Kelly & Company. Follow us on all social media. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more.